welcome everybody. I see we're close to 200 people already, which is pretty exciting. It's Saturday morning, and I'm sure everybody has many other things they could be doing besides joining Bill and myself to talk about all the different ways that we can make money. Although it's my favorite topic, so I wouldn't be doing anything else if I could talk about making money. Bill, did you have a chance to introduce yourself yet?
I have not. I have not done any of that. Hi, everyone. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I'm excited to be here because I'm a huge believer in multiple streams of revenue to develop wealth. And my top priority is peace of mind. And it seems the more streams of income I have, the greater my peace of mind. So thank you. I'm glad to be here, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And I am Laura Biewer. I am the founder of CoachMeLaura.com, Notary Symposium, and at your service, Mobile Notary. And I have been in the business about 17 years with different goals in mind. The first one was to make money. The second one was to make more money. The third one was to even make more. But the only reason that had any importance for me at all is because of what it allows me to do. And it allows me to live a lifestyle with my family that I dream about. It allows me to be who I want to be and not a slave to my business or to worrying about how I'm paying the next bill. So money in and of itself isn't that important. It's what it can do for us. And many of us come from a life of get a job, work, get your salary or your hourly wage, whatever it is, and help make your company that you work for rich. You know, help them make those earnings. And in exchange for that time, you get a certain amount of money, you know, enough that you might be able to buy a house and live day-to-day life. But probably not enough for the bigger dreams. Maybe not enough to put your kids through college debt-free. Maybe not enough to travel where you want to go. And so when you work for a company like that, time exchange for money, that's pretty much the paradigm you'll live in. That's where you'll be. And it's really difficult to get out of that unless you find another way. And the other way is entrepreneurship. The other way is to find as many different ways that bring lines of revenue into you. I've heard at least 7 is recommended. So you took your step away from your day job. Some of you may have some of a day job and this. So you're on that road. And so many of us were hardcore notaries. And as hardcore notaries, we're out there doing loan signings. Maybe we're even doing some specialty work with that commission, but there is so much more available to us. And my idea is that my eggs need to be in a lot of different baskets, because if one drops, it's not going to hurt me because I got plenty of other ones still there for me to live off of. And as a notary who back in 2007, 2008, lived through the last, real estate bubble burst, where I went from hundreds of signings to zero. And I had left my day job. This was my job. I didn't have anything else. I figured out pretty quickly that having all those eggs in that one basket was a bad idea. So what was a good idea? A good idea was figuring out what else could I do right away with what I have. And what I had was a notary commission. So I took a look at personally, how could I find ways to market myself differently and to attract jobs that were not loan signings, because there really weren't any of those available. And so those of you who follow me, those of you who have seen my video replay library, know that I started specializing in hospitals and with attorneys, doing living trust, adoption work. I started looking at every industry. Every industry needs notarization for something. So I looked at where's the sweet spot, who needs it more than others. And the legal industry needed it a lot, whether it's family law with prenuptial agreements and adoption work, or whether it was the probate attorneys with the living trusts and other kinds. I talk about living trusts, but guys, there's like 4 or 5 other kinds of trusts out there besides what I've spoken about. I started looking at venues like jails and hospitals and thinking, what's special about that? Why do notaries really not want to go there? What extra do I need to know to do that? And by expanding and leveraging this commission I already had, I was able to start bringing in income. And what I found is, one, I kind of liked it because there were things that I didn't have to do, right? I didn't have to print documents. I wasn't dealing with escrow companies and other third parties. I was dealing with the signer right there, number one. Number two, my consumable expenses with my capital equipment wasn't needed. And the time to prepare that wasn't needed. The third thing was I got paid when I left. That was the best part, right? I was creating a receipt, not an invoice. And so the money, the cash flow was so much better. And probably from 2008 to 2010 or 11. So it was 3 or 4 years before loan signings really started, to come back. They weren't at full blast like today, but they started coming back. And 12, 13, 14, it got better. And what I decided was, loan signings is just one specialty of many. And in my basket, when it's connected to my notary commission, I have many specialties, and loan signings is one of them. And probably right now, about 25%, maybe even 30% of my work at the moment happens to be loan signings. And then the rest of it are specialties. But guess what, guys? There is so much more for us to do because it leverages who we are and what we do. We don't need the commission per se to do the work, but that's the kind of person they're looking for to do the work. And so that's when we started looking at other opportunities out there. And I'll throw out just a couple because I don't want to talk about each. Those of you who are doing them, that's who I want to talk about, who's doing that work. LiveScan is going to be the first one. A little bit more in upfront investment, but it is a great, solid, everybody needs to be fingerprinted to get jobs, to become a notary, to be an attorney. I mean, all of these industries need the people fingerprinted, and some of them have to fingerprint over and over again. And some have to be fingerprinted for not just one district, like teachers. Sometimes they have to be re-fingerprinted in different counties because nobody's sharing the information. So the opportunity with that is tremendous. And, we think about going to the sheriff's office to get fingerprinted, but today they have little tiny pieces of mobile equipment that you could pack in a bag and go and take care of an employer who has many employees that needs that done. And I think we are going to have people on our call today who have experience with that can share, how they make that work. Another one is Apostille work. And Apostille work, I'm not doing the Apostille itself. That's the Secretary of State, but I can facilitate that. And I can maybe be the notary and be the facilitator, or maybe I'm just the facilitator. But there is some good money for us to help people who could actually do this for themselves, but they don't know how. And so we step in and facilitate that for them. So that's another great area, if you haven't thought about that, to work on adding Apostille work. Even if it's not a lot of volume, I probably only handle 3 or 4 of those a month. It's just one of those extra things that comes through. And then the ones that I'm going to let everybody else mention, lots of others, because I had a list a mile long. But I want to talk about 2 that I'm doing that may not be for everybody, because, it depends on where you live. Not every state is equal in opportunity in terms of what we do. And it also depends on not only what your law structure is in your state, but also is that kind of business happening in your location. So one of the things that I started doing in 2020, I planned for it in 2019, and I added this line of business in 2020. So I didn't have it before January of 2020. And that was an inspector of elections. Now, those of you who don't know what that's about, it's specifically, although it's not just HOAs, that's where mine is right now, but HOAs. If anybody lives in a condominium complex, a townhome complex, where they have CC&Rs, they probably have a volunteer board. They might manage it themselves. They might have a third party, like a property management company, manage them. And they need to do annual elections. They might have to update their CC&Rs, which takes a vote, or their bylaws, which takes a vote. And so what happened in California specifically, and that's why I say it's not equal for everybody, we had law changes regarding the annual election process. And they said, look, property management companies, you can't do it yourself. They were just providing that service. You, board, you need to go out and hire a third party impartial person. And they gave some examples, and who was on the list? Notary Public, right? Can't get more impartial than that. And so they added us to the list. And starting in January, actually in the end of December, I had people starting to reach out to me. Do you do this? Do you know how to do this? I didn't know how to do this. I had never done it. I barely even knew what it was. And so fortunately for me, a friend of mine who's a property manager at a property management company said, you know, I'm managing about 7 or 8 of these, and we're going to have to do all 3. We have to do bylaws this year. We have to do CC&Rs this year, because we have to write in those changes, and we'll have our annual election. And we need somebody to come, and we need somebody to receive the ballots. We need somebody to give a status on, are we making quorum yet or not? We need somebody to then tabulate the votes. We need somebody to certify the election. We need somebody to hold the ballots for a year till the next election, in case somebody wants to come back and challenge it. And there's even some other things that it's grown since then. We need somebody to create the secret ballot and mail it out for us, because we can't even touch that in. And each HOA's rules may be slightly different. So some of the property management companies I work for, they create the secret ballot and they send it out, but it's received by my office, and I take over from that point all the way through storage. Other ones, I'm even as far up as doing the pre-notice that has to go out. And so these are all the things that are my responsibilities, and each one of the things I named for you cost money, right? To get a certificate from me to certify costs money. For me to store it in my office for 12 months cost money. For me to receive it at my office cost money. If I have to travel to the location, I didn't, because everything was virtual this year, but that will come back, and travel fees will apply as well. The tabulation time it takes costs money. And if I have to hire, like one of them, 600 units, I can't handle that by myself. So if I have to hire other notaries to help me, I'm charging for those notaries as well. So I love doing this work. I told you I had 0 January 1st of last year. I conducted 65 elections in 2020. 65, from 0 to 65 in that time. And I have 3 different management companies, and each one manages 20 to 30 companies. And at the end of last year, I've been scheduled for new ones I haven't done before for this year. They have referred me to their friends. So, you know, property managers, like everybody else, right? We all hang out together, notaries, we talk about our work. And then they said, hey, how did you deal with this inspector of elections? Oh yeah, we got one. Well, who is it? So people are finding me on my website. They're finding me from referrals from the ones I've already done, because they call around to notaries and they're like, I don't know how to do that. They don't know yet how to do it. And so it's growing. As a matter of fact, I have a second notary that is my backup notary, and all the dates that I can't do. And I usually have 3 months at a time. I know what's coming. And so she takes all the ones. I cherry pick the ones that I know I can do. Then she does the other ones herself. So that's her money. And then when I have a couple big ones, she steps in and she's my other notary. So this is fantastic work, because first of all, you could have your own address. That's a lot of mail coming to your house, but I happen to have an office address, or you could use a PO address to receive this. It's a lot of paper handling. On Zoom, people watch you open the envelopes and do the tabulation. And I just really love this work. What kind of money do I make? Well, it depends on how big their complex is. The smaller ones run about $150. That's the small ones. The bigger ones, like one I'm working on right now, it's actually only 65 units, but it's $500 because I'm having to do the pre-notification, the secret ballot, receive the ballots, tabulate the ballots, certify the elections, store the ballots. So that's a $500 job. And now I'm getting bigger ones where they started out, most of mine were $150 to $200. Now I've got 3 or 4 that are running 4 and 5 and 1 is 6. So these, this isn't about running out and doing 10 loan signings in a day. It's much easier for me, right? Because I do everything from my office and from my home. So that's the one thing I want to talk to you about. And will I do a more in detailed skill builder type of video on that? I will, so that you can get more. But in the meantime, just know that even if you're not in the state of California, elections happen in every state for all HOAs. They all have to elect their boards. They all have CC&Rs. They all have that. Start investigating how are they handling that. And they might be handling it internally right now. It doesn't mean they will continue to handle it internally later. Because, you know, once one state does something like that, other states start, you know, following suit. So
especially California. Yeah.
Yeah, be ahead of the game. So that's one of my favorite, best kept secrets. And that one line of revenue added $10,000 to my bottom line. And I wasn't doing it the year before. So it's not peanuts, you know, and if I want to pursue that more and make that my specialty, I could probably easily double or triple that. I'm not going out and I'm not even marketing myself other than my website. They're finding me. They're reaching out to me. Now there's some kind of swim association and they're going to do an election. And so they don't know how to do an election. So they reached out to me to say, do you know how to run an election? So it's not even just HOAs. It could be any kind of organization that has to have an election. So think even bigger.
Laura, I wonder if, I know people watching are just sitting back thinking, well, Laura's a superhero though. Laura knows everything already. If somebody didn't know, because you didn't know in December of last year how any of this worked, where would they get started? What would you recommend they get started on to figure this out in their state?
I think that there's a couple different resources. One is, of course, the statutes that exist for how HOAs, these homeowners associations, operate. Number one. Number two, property management companies that manage these kind of places. Interview somebody that does that. Do you know anybody that manages? And if you don't, is there a way for you to go in and say, I'm interested in how this all works, and I just wanted to ask some questions. I want to understand how your business works a little bit. So, and that was where mine came from. Once he said, Laura, if you're interested in this, here are the statutes. Then I went and read the statutes, and it says in the statutes, you have to do this and this and this and this and this. It tells you what kinds of things. Now, it won't tell you what your process needs to be to accomplish those things. It just says, here's your responsibilities. And just like being a notary, it's some serious business. Right now, an HOA is being sued for not following the new rules. And they're doing a new one because the first time they didn't use a notary, and they should have, or they should have used a third party. And now that board was sued for $3,000 for not following the rules. Now, thank goodness for that HOA. The homeowner lost that part of it, but they did make them redo the entire election. And that's why I got hired. And now I'm starting from the very beginning all the way to the end. They can't touch any of it. Plus they have attorney costs because of this. So this is some pretty serious business. HOAs that are not following the rules can face some very stiff penalties. And again, and I will have a resource for you this year on what it is, what does it mean to tabulate the votes? How do you do that? How do you certify the election? I will give you all of that kind of detail in my next video. I can't tell you the date it's going to be released, but I will be doing that. In the meantime, look up. And if you don't have it in your state, it's really easy. The Sterling Act, sterling, like sterling silver, the Sterling Act in California, read that because it's going to help you understand potentially what you might be able to be involved in.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Laura.
Okay. So I have another one, but I want to take a break because now I've been talking for about 20 minutes. And let's have somebody else share their gold mine. What are they doing besides notarization work that, or it's related to notarization work, or it's something totally different that's helping them stay an entrepreneur? So Kay, I see a hand up.
Kay, do you have, would you like to unmute and share your opportunity? If not, if that was a question, we can come back to that later. I see Clyde's hand is up as well. Clyde, great to see you on here. How's it going?
All right.
There he is.
Hey there. Sorry about that. So the one thing that I've been doing is foreclosure auctions. So, you know, in those deeds of trust that we have for loan closings, on the unfortunate times when the people who own the property aren't able to continue to make those payments, it reverts back to the trustee. So I am now working with an organization. They actually are the company then that represents the trustees. And I literally go to the courthouse step and sell at auction to investors the property. And it brings in, again, about $1,000 per month. It is literally 15 minutes of work to stand on the steps, to read the script, to do the bids, and to file the deed.
Wow. That's fabulous.
Clyde, thank you so much for sharing that. Never even considered that.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, Clyde, if somebody was interested in following up, could you just point them in the right direction on where they would research how to get started?
Yeah, so literally a couple of places. One, Google search on doing foreclosure auctions. You can also go on to YouTube and search that. And there's a couple of videos that actually show people doing it. I work for a company called Missouri Closers, and they represent trustees in probably 4 or 5 different states.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Clyde. Really appreciate that.
Love that. Okay.
Yeah, go for it, Laura.
Donald Daniels. I don't have my glasses on, so I can barely read the font.
Donald Daniels, would you like to unmute and share with us? Donald Daniels, we'll come back to you. Kay, I'm sorry, I put your hand down. It looks like it's popped back up. I'm sorry, Donald Daniels got it unmuted. We'll stick with, yeah, how's it going, Donald?
Good, how you doing this morning?
Good.
I have an opportunity I came across that I wanted to share with everyone. It's just another option to, you know, increase your income. I became a certified home inspector during the pandemic, and it's a big like influx of homes needing to be inspected. And it also gets you in touch with a lot of realtors and, you know, just different people that help you out with loan signings if you're into that. So by me becoming a home inspector, I actually boosted my loan signing business as well. So it was a good move for me to make. So I suggest that anyone, you know, I got the website link there, International Association of Home Inspectors. Go there,
Awesome.
Join, and just look into it.
Thank you so much for that, Donald. It seems like that puts you right in the heart of everyone that you'd want to connect to in this industry. So I love that. And that really feeds in. I think too, Laura, wouldn't you find that the more your additional stream of revenue or your side hustle ties into your notary business or into your world, the less energy it taps from you?
Yeah, and that's why you'll see a lot of the things that I do somehow tap into being a notary rather than totally separate from that. It really leverages the commission that I hold, whether or not I actually perform a notarization, and it is just easier. It's like taking a little baby step to something else rather than a whole new thing. I think some of these whole new things like live scan's a whole new thing. What Donald's talking about is another whole set of skills. That is a great way for you to build depth to your business, because it will start to bring into your world people who were not there before.
Yeah, love that. Do we have time for a couple more, Laura?
Yeah, let's do a couple more.
All right, excellent. Kay, I'm so sorry I lowered your hand. Would you like to unmute and share with us your perspective, your side hustle, or your
Sorry,
revenue?
I lowered my own hand. My
Oh.
apologies.
No worries.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So you didn't
Unmute
have
yourself, Kate.
Yeah, my question, it's not on topic, so I'll email Laura separately another time. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kay. Roslyn from Fort Worth, Texas. Great to see you on here. Would you like to unmute and share what you found?
Well, this year was an election year, so I worked the elections, and I worked on the ballot board. So, and I'll probably be, you know, it's a paid volunteer position, so that comes in a little bit handy getting some election work done in there, but it doesn't tie you up for long, and you know when you're going to work, so it doesn't interfere with the rest of your work.
I
Wonderful.
love that. So what kinds of activities, Rosalind, did you do for the ballot board?
The ballot board is the ones where you're opening the absentee ballots, where you check all the signatures, you do all that, and they go through the envelopes, you match signatures, you open them up, you have several people. We had quite a bit of absentee ballots this year, as everybody knows, a lot more than ever. So I actually worked about 15 days and made $3,000 because I was working overtime. So, but it was something I learned a lot about. So, and everybody was just hardworking and there to get it done. So
thanks for that service, Rosalind, because we needed a lot of hands to take care of all those absentee ballots in a short amount of time. So doesn't it feel great that you can be of service and make money, right? It's not an or statement, guys. It's not like I can be of service and I have to volunteer my time. Otherwise, it's not valuable. What you offer is valuable, whether or not you charge. All right. So why not, if the opportunity is there, to make some money at the same time? So I love hearing when you can do something that is really important and of service and you got paid to do it. So that's fabulous. All right. What do we have after? Sheila? Sheila, is it Ewing?
Yes, Sheila Ewing Agnew from Tennessee. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Well, hi. I wanted to share that actually I got this opportunity from a loan signing that I did. Apparently, when there are natural disasters like tornadoes, maybe hurricanes, there are nonprofits in the local area that actually work with homeowners who don't have insurance to help them get back on their feet. And so this one, again, was just a nonprofit in the area who actually, when they're going out to meet with the homeowner after, working the process with insurance companies or actually with the state to get them back in their homes, then I actually go in and notarize a certification that the home that they can actually resume living in the home. And like I said, we had a tornado just about a year ago, and this particular borrower, told me that she was on this board. So, again, there was about $50, just to notarize one line. They pay through a check, they pay through, PayPal, what's the other one? Square, that type of thing. So again, it's not something that you're doing every day, but as they have these opportunities come up, then, they're reaching out for me to meet them, do this notarization, again, less than 10 minutes and be on your way.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And of course, it's terrible that we have natural disasters, but we do. And I don't care what state you're in, they happen. In California, we had all the fires. We've had floods in other states. So again, here's another story of stepping in to be a part of a solution and to be helpful and making money while we do it.
You know what really stood out for me too with that story, Laura, Sheila,
Uh-huh.
thank you for sharing that, is that this was an opportunity that came from a loan signing that you were
Yeah.
in.
Mhm.
And I think this is a good time to remind everyone that when you are at your appointments 100% present, meaning you are there, you'll see opportunity where others miss it. Because you never know who's sitting across the table. So show up 100% present, 100% authenticity. Remember that your job is to do the role you've been paid to do as an expert, but then also you're laying the foundation for more. You know, whether if they need a notary once, they're going to need a notary again. They might need another role. They might have another connection. You might just be the type of person they're looking for, or someone they can connect to other people. Great story. Thank you, Sheila.
You love that. Okay, let's see, Guy. If you could unmute. And
Is this
thank you,
guy
Guy.
from Colorado? All right, Guy, we're gonna skip over you for right now. Dennis Postel. Is it Postel or Postel?
It's Postel.
Postel.
And
Hi, Dennis.
I am incredibly new to this world of notary, and I've got a side issue, and it has to do with the humble stapler. Okay, there are two ways of stapling. All right, there's that one, and then there's this one. The difference is they both show up as staples. If you do the one that will staple to the outside, you don't need to peel it off to take off the stapler. You just physically pull it out. Whereas the traditional one, you have to unpeel it. There's actually a tool for doing that.
Right.
If you use the other setting on the stapler, all you have to do is grab the and pull it out. And that's, you know, I thank God for the pandemic. I never would have discovered that. 1 year of quarantine, a couple of days studying this instrument of humble qualities to find out that I don't have to use my fingernails to pry open and like that. Another convenient is when I stack a whole bunch of stapled papers, the corner with the staples is much wider. Whereas when they're to the outside, you reduce the volume. And well, so Dennis, thank you for allowing me to share this. And now we return to our regularly scheduled program.
That is quite a tip, and what a great point. You know, and you got geez. Mauricio is getting down. Thank you for that, Dennis. 12 months of staring at a staple will open your world up. Mauricio, I'm going to mute you one more time, Mauricio. All right, we're going to just take care of that problem right now. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
All right. Get this party started.
Let's go back to Guy and see if he's able to unmute himself. I don't know what happened to you, Guy. Are you with us?
All right, he might be on a call or something. We can pop over to Phil. Would you like to pop over to Phil?
Yeah, I would. Phil, thanks for joining us today. And Phil and I worked together for many years. Some of you may know him from my symposium as the LegalShield guy. But I want him to share with us a little bit about how LegalShield is not just something we have to protect ourselves as notaries or to help other people get their own protection, but there's actually a method behind that that can help us grow our wealth. And Phil, would you, if you're unmuted, would you take a few minutes to talk about that for me?
I'd be happy to do that. Can I ask my first question? I actually had a question or what I think might be able to help many notaries. As both Bill and you know, I work with a lot of large organizations. I have police departments, fire departments, ambulance companies, et cetera, and I have the endorsement for most of these large associations. And in these large associations, they each have individual chapters. Police have the POA, fire have the FFA, right. CHP have, they just have different. Would those folks have elections that notaries could be helpful?
I don't know if they have elections. If they do, then notaries could be.
I know that. I know they have elections.
So
Okay.
it depends on how their organization rules are written.
Okay, that might be a good source. I'll, if you remind me, Laura, I will take a look and
Okay.
see what I can out. And
Yeah.
the chapters are spread all across. Obviously, I have California and Nevada. I have Nevada Firefighters and Nevada Police Officers Association as well, so I can help. But in regard to what I do specifically, and as Laura mentioned, I've been working with Laura for 15 plus years. I've worked with Bill for the last few years. It's been a pleasure. I really didn't understand the notary business in a whole lot of detail until actually your notary symposium 5 years ago. I was one of the first speakers. And when I spoke, I talked about what our services could provide. And for those who don't, very simply, we provide a service where people have access to getting their legal questions answered. Whatever those legal questions happen to be, personal or business, no time limits, no exclusions. The law firm can write letters, make phone calls, review contracts and documents, represent you if sued, auditor, get a traffic ticket. That's very quick, a quick synopsis of what our services do. But when I got off the stage, Laura said, Phil, tell them how they can generate income with this thing. And I honestly looked at her like she was a Martian or had two heads, because I was very, very confused. I have done hundreds, if not thousands of presentations to groups, and never was I asked to introduce the concept of generating income. But obviously your situation is very different. You're looking for ways to supplement your income, add to your income, have multiple streams of income. And LegalShield provides a very simple way to do that. As Bill just mentioned so succinctly, if you're 100% involved in your signing or in the work that you're doing, there will be opportunities. Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes people ask you legal questions. When you agree, they ask you about things that you can't answer. There's something called, what's the term I'm looking for? The illegal practice of law. You've got to be very careful as a notary not to do that. And LegalShield provides the opportunity for you to say to that client, I don't know the answer, but I ran into something through my notary business that might help you. Would you like me to get you some information about that? And you can plug into me. If you get well-versed, you can do it yourself, but simply just get them some information about the services we provide that can generate a substantial additional income for you. And more importantly, you're helping your clients. It's all about developing rapport and relationship with your clients. The more you can help your clients, the more apt you are to get business, to get good business, to get people who refer, all the things that we want from any entrepreneur endeavor. I've been with LegalShield for over 35 years. The services we offer are top notch. We're not always perfect, but we're very, very good. And we also provide, in my very biased opinion, but also the opinion of Forbes magazine 4 weeks ago, they ranked our identity theft plan as a top identity theft plan in the country for individuals and families. And we're about a third of the price of the major companies that you're aware of. So I'm very proud to represent this company, proud to get you some information. Obviously, you can contact Laura, Bill, whatever you need to do to find out more. I'll let Laura figure out the best way to do that, but I'd love to help you generate another source of income. Thanks.
Thank you, Phil.
Awesome, Phil. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Both Bill and I are LegalShield associates, and some of you on today's call may also already be. And I've been one for probably over 10 years, and really I have just said, oh yeah, you need some information, I'll send you over to Phil. And I've not done anything with it because I wasn't ready to do anything with it. But one of the things that I want you to just think about, this is just a thinking stage. And a lot of times we need to conceptualize something before we're ever ready to execute it. And that is, when I exchange my time for money at a job, that's all the money I can make. And then I become an entrepreneur, and now I find other ways to leverage my skills and certifications, and I start making more money from a lot of different sources, but I'm still exchanging my time for that money. And how many loan signings can you do in a day? 6, 9, 15? You can only do so many. You've got to have a break sometime.
Yeah.
So think about what it would be like to make money when you sleep, right? At some point we talk about leveling up our business in terms of getting better quality assignments so you don't have to do as many. And then I want you to think about when you look at multiple streams of revenue, some are going to be more of exchanging your time for money. And the better quality of that work, the more money you get for the exchange, which is great. But beyond that, I want you to think about residual money. Think about money that comes to you because you put forth the effort, and now it continues to offer you money after the fact while you move on to do other things. So many of us are not ready quite for that yet. But if you are, LegalShield is that type of business, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I promise I won't just force you on Phil.
Love that.
If I could
And
just something real quick, Laura. Sorry,
ahead,
Bill.
Bill.
No,
What
go
we
for
did
it.
at the notary, what we did at the notary symposium. Can you hear me okay, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we did at the notary symposium, if you'd like some additional information, and this is just information, put your contact information in the chat. We'd be happy to send you some information in regard to what we do, how it all works, and if it might work for you. And Laura was alluding to residual income. As most of you know, I've been with LegalShield for many, many years, and it's nice to wake up and your daily check is over $500 or over $1,000, and you didn't do anything the day before. So making money while you're sleeping is, I think, everybody's goal. So I'd love to help you do that. Thanks again.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Guy was able, he's having some microphone issues, so he posted in the chat, and I love that he brought this up, but Maverick auto signings is one thing that he does. And guys, those, that works very similar to loan signing. Sometimes they come through some of the loan signing channels, but I think that's another great option as well. So thank you, Guy, for sharing that. Really easy signings. They usually pay upwards of $75 as well. Patricia Bridges, great to see you on here.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? What's that?
Yeah, sure can.
Oh, I thought you were talking to the other lady, Bill, Laura. Hello, everybody. I learned this from you. It floored me. Always come authentic. Always try to do the best job you can. And I got a call from a client who said, "Hi, Patricia. I searched all over the house and found your card. Remember me?" And I was like, "Oh, hi." I didn't know who I was talking to. Anyway, what he wanted was he wanted me to be the notary on his purchase property. And I told him I surely would. He said, "Okay, I'm going to let the title company know, and they'll include you in the email. What's your fee?" And I told him. He said, "Okay." And the title company emailed me. They said, "Is this your fee?" They said, "Yes." He's going to pay you out of his check. I was like, "Thank you very much." When I went to see him and his wife to do the notarization, and he said, "Oh, you've gotten fancy. You got different business cards." I met this gentleman when I first started as an NSA. I did his I-9 verification. That was it. And I left my card. And it turned into a nice little sum. And he said, "If we ever need a notary again, we'll call on you, because we just love how you do things. You make it so easy." And I was like, "Oh my God, it does work, Bill. It does work, Laura." So I just wanted to share that. And that happened last week.
I love that. Thank you so much. So you show up for a quick little $20, $30 I-9 appointment, and it turns into a lifelong relationship. That's how this business can work. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thanks.
Jeff Clark, I'm so glad that we got a chance to get to you, because you are on the road doing a little bit of everything, including fingerprinting. Is that what you're going to talk to us about today?
No, I wasn't actually, but I can talk about that. I was going to bring up that you can be a process server. So you can, you have to go down to your county and go through the paperwork, but that could be a revenue stream to, you get calls to deliver paper, court papers to people that are getting divorced and all that fun stuff. I mean, it's difficult, but it's definitely fit in between.
It's got a different energy to it for sure. And it's definitely not for everybody. And every state can be a little different on their rules for this, but I love that you brought that up too.
So that's a great thing. I do that. And the fingerprinting thing, yes, it's great. So, and I get a lot of people wanting to know about fingerprinting. So here in California, we have live scan, which is electronic fingerprinting, where everything gets sent to the DOJ, and that's great. But if you're not in California, you're in another state, you can do the paper fingerprint cards, usually by the FBI. And you know, a lot of people need those done. So here in California, it's process pretty simple to get your certified fingerprint rolling certification, and you can buy cards and some ink and do it. So, you know, it's an easy way to make some additional income. It's not, you know, you're not I probably do a handful of those a month. It's not big, you know. The ink cards is what I'm referring to, not the live scan. But yeah, it's, you know, something to look into. It's cheap to get into, you know, ink and some cards. You know, I think you can get a pack of cards for like, you know, $20 and it will last you a while. So something to get into.
And then the live scan, though, that was a considerably more a bigger investment, right?
Yeah. So live scan, yeah, it depends on what company you go with. Here in California, there's only a few companies that you can purchase equipment from. But like Laura said, it's all mobile. I'm mobile. I can bring a laptop and the device to anybody and take their fingerprints. You know, it's really easy. It's essentially the size of a briefcase. As everything fits in a briefcase. You just go there and take their fingerprints and you're done, and walk away with some money. So it's, you know, it is lucrative. The key to live scan, though, is getting those accounts, you know, those larger accounts, like the people that always need it, like healthcare providers. They always have a turnover for their nurses and CNAs and all these people. Those are the people you want to go into and say, hey, I'm here, I can help you. I can come to your facility when you hire people and do that. You know, so those are the places that you need to focus on. Every here in California, everybody that is related to government needs a live scan, so you can attack lawyers and all these people. I mean, now I'm getting veterinarians, because apparently veterinarians need to be live scanned starting, I don't know if it's this year or last year or whatever, but I'm getting a lot of those now. So everybody's is needing that to be done. So the business is there. It's just going out and making the connections with people to make it so it's a perpetual business. I mean, obviously I get calls from people like, yeah, I need it done, and yeah, come on in and do it, you know, but you want to get the repeat business is where your focus needs to be in that kind of business. So
love it. So imagine that it's relationship based. Picking up a theme here. I love that. And every appointment that we're talking about is a possibility to build a relationship that could last beyond one single appointment. So if you do have your notary business, your loan signing, and your fingerprinting, or your LegalShield, all of this, if you're 100% present, can be opportunities for you. So Jeff, thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah, just one note about that. You know, I was at I'm at loan signings. I do loan signings, and like I was at one this morning. They said, "Oh, do you just do notary?" No, I do live scan fingerprinting. They're like, "Oh, great." You know, and actually I had somebody that contacted me that I did a loan signing last year in September and said, "Hey, we found your card finally. You know, they needed me to be a notary." And then I went there and they said, "Oh, if we had known you were a live scan person, we would have called you, because we did that last week." But, you know, the fact of the matter is once you get people know what you're doing and you share that, they will remember you if you leave a card and call you back. And I've had people that have called me back to do live scan and such. So it's all great.
Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much for sharing that. Laura, would you like us to keep going down the list? We have Kay and Rob Zukowski, or did you?
I wanted to talk about one thing that may not come up, and that is immigration consultant work. because although that's more difficult, you know, in California, in many other states, except for those few where it's just not allowed, that's another opportunity. And that is about helping people fill out immigration forms. That's really what it's about, the forms off the USCIS website. And every state, like Florida, you can do it. There isn't anything. They just don't really require anything. So that's another one. And so now you're not, although some documents could be notarized, there aren't very many that are. You're providing a different kind of service that is not regulated in terms of what you can charge for those services. So if you're in a state where immigration consultant is allowed, you might want to check into that because those are like the DACA forms, the I-9 forms, the Freedom of Information Act, and there's some much more complicated and advanced work. But even if you did the 3 or 4 most common ones, you would have a steady stream of income for that. So I don't know if anybody on this call is doing immigration consultant work, but if you are, raise your hand because I'd love to talk to you. Now let's go back and see if somebody else has something to share.
Okay, we're back to you. Do you have a revenue stream that you'd like to share with us?
I don't have a revenue stream, but I would love to hear about that home inspection. If you can give us more either today or another day, that would be something of interest to me.
Yes, we posted the link in the chat for the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. That would be where you would want to start, but we'll have some more resources coming up too, maybe with some people who are actually going through this as we grow. This is more of an introductory conversation. As you can tell, we're almost at an hour and there's still so much that we could be talking about. Rob Zukowski, thank you so much. Do you have a revenue stream you'd like to share with us?
Well, I do not, but I do have a question about the live scan. I've looked up that quite a bit, and it seems it's all out of California. Is that right? Is that where the only place you can do that live scan?
No, every state is different though, and they have their own rules. Some of them will do the paper printing, some of them will do the live scan, the electronic. It is state specific, and there is a resource. I actually have it. I interviewed a gal from Certifix live scan, and she provided some great resources, and I'll send that out in the replay as well. So you guys have that, at least a starting place to find out what your state allows.
And just out of curiosity real quick, what entity would you go to find out about getting certified to do the ink fingerprinting?
That's a good question. I would imagine that's probably going to be state specific, maybe even FBI. Laura, is it state specific?
State specific, and gosh,
yeah, Department of Justice.
Yeah, Secretary of State may have something there for you, your Secretary of State, in terms of what you need to do. You could, you know, Google's my best friend, and so I would Google research that, fingerprint cards for your state. Requirements, and you can start getting information there. It'll probably tell you what agency you need to go through.
Okay,
and for live scanning, I had to be background checked myself, but I couldn't just go to a mobile. I had to actually go to the Sheriff's Department and have that done and apply to the Secretary of State to be a certified fingerprint roller. So, and once I did that, now I'm done. I can do live scan. I can do whatever I want. It's not a problem for me. I'm not choosing to do that line of work right now. I did about 1,000 prints and decided, no, this one just isn't for me. But I would Google resources for that.
Perfect. Thank you. LaTanya Middleton, thank you so much for being here. Do you have a revenue source you'd like to share with us?
Hello. I don't have an actual revenue source, but just piggybacking off of the fingerprint chat. I looked into it, but I don't have a physical location. But if anybody actually has a location, I didn't go. Similar to live scan, they actually provide like the fingerprint and equipment. Like if you partner with them, and they provide the training and everything for free, but you do have to have like an actual location. But that's something like to look into as well.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for bringing up the physical location part too. Because some of those, especially with the fingerprinting, even with the notary, having a physical location can make a difference. What's the name of that company, LaTanya?
I didn't go.
I didn't go.
I didn't go. Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat here. I looked into it before and I just pulled it back up. But yeah, they have a lot of information on their site, and they mentioned that the training and equipment is free, which would, which drew me in because I know that fingerprint equipment is like a big investment.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've got one more. We've got Bridget. Bridget's iPhone.
Hey guys, so another revenue stream that I've come up with, and mind you, I'm in Texas, this may vary state to state, but I am actually going to be licensed to do motor vehicle title services. And what made me think about it is because when people sign their titles, they sometimes need the titles notarized. And if you have over 500,000 population in certain areas, it's actually a federal or most of the time a state law that the counties can license individual companies to offer these services. And basically what you're doing, and I hate to say it this way because I wouldn't pay anyone to sit and wait for me, but you're helping them fill out their title paperwork for their new vehicle, selling a vehicle, and you're taking it to the tax collector's office to file it for them. And you can charge them for this. That's not included fee. But in addition to that, you have power of attorney, which needs to be notarized if someone does this for them, in addition to possibly the vehicle title. So it's a really good revenue stream. I have a cousin that does it in Houston. You can do this for tractor trailers, RVs, vehicles, there's bondage, all this different stuff that does also require sometimes notarization. That's a definite additional stream of income.
I love this, Bridget. Can you tell us again exactly what you're calling it?
So it's in some states here, they're calling it motor vehicle title services. And most of the time it's going to be with the tax assessor collector, because that's where most states they get their tags from for their registration. And that's the cool part. A lot of these companies can even offer temporary plates. So if a person doesn't want to wait, have vehicle registered, then they can actually pay you to go sit, get their tags for them, and then you call them when they're ready. There's a number of different things that you can offer in the form of services that you can do this with, and have that additional income. Now here in Texas, you are required to have a location, and I'll be honest, it's fairly new because of the amount of fraud on vehicle titles and things like that. And that was my understanding. Now I do have kind of an in. I used to work for the county, so I kind of had an in, but I know it does happen everywhere in different states. So you may want to look into it, guys. It's a really good opportunity. I have one family member that paid someone like $300 to do this for them.
Yeah.
And that's like person. So
thank you so much for sharing this, Bridget. That definitely gets the wheels turning. And that brings up a really good point too.
You muted yourself, Bill.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. Bridget, did you have one thing you wanted to wrap up with?
No. And that was that. Bring that up. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So that, Laura, I'm sure you can back me on this, but to what Bridget's point is, value is in the eye of the beholder. We might think there is no way I would ever pay somebody $300. I'll just go down and stand in line to do it. But other people think differently. So you got to think not with your wallet, but think about other people that would see value in this. Professionals, truck drivers who might be on the road. They don't have time to take to sit in line and do all that. There's executives that do this. This is why commercial signings tend to pay more than residential loan signings, because executives and C-level owners of companies have a different way of looking at things. You can find a way to add value. And this ties into the inspector of elections too. There might be property management companies that do this. They provide this service. It might be pricey. It might be a cost center for them instead of a profit center. So if you can find ways that you can do things better or more efficiently than other people, there is always going to be opportunity for you.
Yeah, related to that, Bill, is that permit runner.
Yes, exactly.
Cynthia Alexander teaches that training out of Florida. She has a website, Cinna Notary, and permit runners. And I've done that a couple times myself. A lot of times I'll do something just because I want to see what it's about. And then I can decide, nah, it's not for me. But I will say I did it a couple of times where I stood in line for them to file their paperwork. I've done that also when I've notarized deeds for somebody. And the reason they called me is they couldn't get out. So now they have to record the deed. And they've said, how can I get this recorded? You know, do you provide that service? And so I've selectively chosen when I'm going to help somebody out and do that, because it is my time, and my time is pretty valuable. So I just want to mention that, very similar. And I've seen signs for these DMV title here in my own city for people doing that. Go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, Laura, on this topic, there's probably people sitting back thinking, well, how am I supposed to make money if I can only charge $15 a stamp or $5 a stamp? I think it's really important that we clarify that what we're talking about here, these additional revenue streams, these additional side hustles, this is not, while it's related to your notary commission, this is not regulated by the same statutes that your notary fees are limited to. Time for permit running or whatever it is, that's totally different. That's a totally other realm. If you want to, you can charge separately for waiting fees. You can charge separately for obviously the fingerprinting fees and all of that. Even though it's under the notary umbrella, it's not regulated by the same fee structure.
Thanks. That's a good reminder. And it's a good reminder for us in terms of, as we start experimenting with trying out different options, about figuring out, well, how do I charge for that? Because I didn't know how to charge for an inspector of elections. Ultimately, I went to a time and materials, because there's no notarization, right? And so I started at first really low, because I wasn't sure how much time it would take me to do these different activities. And then once I got the handle of it, this last 2020, after doing 65 of them, yeah, my prices went up. And you know what? The people who used me last year, every one of them, they want me again for the next year. So I already have 65 on the books for this year, plus the new ones that are coming on. Another thing I wanted to mention is that, a lot of us had other lives before we became notaries, right? And so one of the things that I do is that I, of course, teach and coach, and I do presentations. And the reason I want to bring this up is that some of you may have been teachers or are teachers, right? Separate from being a notary. And one of the things that I talk about doing, getting hospital work or medical facilities work, is to do presentations at the facility for the staff to teach them about notarization, because they don't understand what it is. So then when their patient asks for the service, they don't know what to tell them about how to be prepared for that. And when I do presentations for assisted living facilities, and there are two kinds. Again, one for the staff, but the bigger one is to the residents there. And I talk about important documents like powers of attorney, healthcare directives, last will and testament, trust documents, and why it's so important that we have these documents in place. And if they don't have them in place, talk to their family about that, right? So I'm not there to sell them anything, but what I am doing is talking to them about something that's of value and importance to them. And of course, some of that ends up coming back to me as a notary, so that I get that kind of work. So think about other skills that you have, the other life you had before you became a notary. And is there anything there that you can utilize or leverage to open up doors for you? And so that was another part of, the idea of, if a revenue stream is you're going to do medical facilities, then you need to start thinking about what value can you bring there, because dropping your card off is not going to get you work. It's going to find its way to the round file with everybody else who dropped their cards off. So that's not a marketing strategy, right? We need to see how can we bring value. And I'm seeing, for those of you who are over on Clubhouse, I'm seeing people I didn't know before who are out there mentoring and coaching, for a fee. A lot of things we give away, but not necessarily everything. Even Bill and I have paid work as well as all the free that we give away. And the other thing, which you guys might find really different, is I'm paid as an expert witness. Now, you may not be ready to be an expert witness, and it doesn't have to be notary witness. I happen to be an expert for notary law in California, and I get requested to testify, to research and then testify, either to support the notary or, unfortunately, not to support the notary. I do both sides because of my knowledge and expertise. And, you know, that's about $250 an hour. I'm not notarizing anything. I'm using my brain. I'm using my knowledge, and I'm helping. And so this is like a side thing to the legal area, you know, where I'm actually doing, I'm a notary and I do notarization works. This is really recognizing the skill and knowledge that I have. And again, you know what, when I started, and even maybe 10 years ago, I wasn't doing this kind of work. But see, your business can evolve over time. And there'll be things you used to do, you don't do now. And there'll be new things you never thought you would have those skills to handle, but you do now. Or you can start building them so that you could do them in the future. And so our business needs to be constantly evolving and growing and changing with us. And that's how you end up developing these different lines of income that can come your way. Bill, you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was awesome, because the reality is, guys, if you're not growing, you're dying, and your business is the exact same way. You've got to be adapting. You've got to be listening to what the environment is telling you. It's going to send you signals, and you need to be able to jump on an opportunity. You can decide if it doesn't work for you, it's not for you. But the last thing you want to do is stick your head in the sand and pretend things aren't happening, and that pretend that everything's going to stay the same forever, so you can just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's just not real. And those are going to be the notaries and the loan signing agents that are going to be in the forums complaining. The business is slow, my phone's not ringing, the sky is falling. It's because they're not listening to the environment. They're not taking opportunities. And I encourage you all to know why this business has to work for you. When you know why, like me, I'm not going back to a call center. I mean, that'll be like the end for me if I have to go back to a call center. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that my business survives no matter what. I want a business that's going to last forever. I love this business. I love you guys. I want to be here for a while. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to adapt and grow in that environment. There's a couple others that I really wanted to mention though, Laura, because we don't, they haven't come up yet, maybe in the chat and I've missed it, but the wedding officiant. Wedding officiant is huge in our community too. I see some people talking about remote online notarization. I think that if you're in a state that allows for it, it has a lot of potential to be an additional revenue stream in your business. And even though you're not making money while you're sleeping, you might be making money while you're on your couch or in your underwear. You know, you never know. That's another way that you can be making money and not being out on the streets, especially during the pandemic. The field inspection, I think that's grown in popularity right now too. And I see somebody posted the link to Sophie in there too. And there's some great resources from Jamie Liggins and lots of other online influencers that have been talking about that. So look that up. There is tons of business that can come out of this notary umbrella. And Laura, do you mind if I take a minute just right now to talk about the new podcast?
No, let's talk about that.
Guys, I am so passionate about additional streams of revenue and the need for taking that on to create a business that's going to last, to create a lifestyle that you've always dreamed of, that I am starting a new podcast called The Side Hustle Lounge, and where we are going to get to talk about all these other true, legit income opportunities where you can create money, wealth, opportunity, passion, whatever it is for you. But then we're also going to talk about growth and personal development, because when you're a solopreneur, your business growth depends on your personal growth. So we're going to get a chance to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about all the lifestyle stuff, why we work so hard. We don't work so hard so we can keep working so hard, so we can work 14, 15 hours a day. We're working towards a dream. We want to take care of people. We want to do adventurous things. So we're going to get a chance to talk about that. It launches on April 15th. And we've already got an amazing lineup of speakers, and I'm super excited about it. If you're interested in just getting updates on that, go to sidehustlelounge.com. We got a low casual vibe, and you can register right there, and I'll send you out an email as we come up. We've got some Clubhouse events coming up too. In fact, next Friday, we have Mark Allen Grollo, the unboring wedding officiant. He's going to be on Clubhouse on Friday night with us talking about the book solid wedding officiant, giving his tips about how he's created a six-figure enterprise as a wedding officiant. So if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, I know it's weird. I didn't know anything about it until 10 days ago. I'm on it. I'm embracing it. It's on Apple only right now. I'm an Android user, so I had to get an iPad just for this. So it should be on Android in about 6 months. So you won't miss out for long. But if you are on Apple, all you have to do is get invited by somebody else who's on it. But utilize your network for that, guys. That's what your network's for. Post it on your social media. There's tons of people who are on Apple, lots more, millions coming onto Clubhouse that can hook you up. And I hope to see you in the Side Hustle Lounge. Thank you, guys. All right, we have 2 more hands up. Laura, do you want to do 2 more? Can we have time for 2 more questions?
We'll wrap up. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Anissa from Arizona, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here as well. I had posted the thing about Sophie because when I first became a notary, and I've only been a notary about 6 months, this was a second revenue stream. And there's a gentleman named Richard Law. He's the one that has this ebook here. I don't know whether that's backwards to you all, but
no, we can see it.
Okay, I posted it in the chat, so if anyone saves the chat, they'll have it. But there are many different types of inspections that one can go on through this Sophie organization. There are commercial inspections, insurance, cars, and they don't take a lot of time. They don't pay a fortune, but it's something to supplement your revenue. That's it.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you did that. Thank you for sharing that. So you hit 2 things on this one, Anissa. Number 1, field inspections, totally worth looking into, totally legit. But then also ebooks or books. You can see a lot of books coming out now. I've been able to write 2 of them, and that has been a huge boost to my dreams and my revenue streams as well. And if you do it right, there's actually a strategy for this. So I encourage you, if you're going to write a book, do it the right way. And it can pay off, and it could be a huge value to people. Dennis Apostille, you're going to be our last question. Thank you so much, Anissa. I appreciate it.
And I don't so much have a question as I have some information. In the lower right-hand corner of your chat window, there are 3 little dots, and you will be able to save everything that's in the chat, because I haven't been able to keep up with all the things being put there. In the lower right-hand corner of the chat window, you can save the chat.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Dennis. Yes. So if you're on the computer, you can save your chat. If you are not on a computer, use the opportunity to network with each other, and they can save the chat for you. I cannot do it because you'll see all the private chats, and I've seen tons of private chats coming back through with some information that I can't share with everybody. So you're going to need to share amongst yourselves. So maybe share each other's emails, connect with each other, and share this chat. There are a lot of great resources on there. Thank you so much, Dennis. Laura, back over to you.
Thanks, Bill. You know, the e-MeetUp, the purpose of an e-MeetUp right now is because we couldn't do a meetup in person. And I've been doing those for more than 10 years. And it's an opportunity for everybody to bring something, you know, to the party. Everybody has something to share, have something of value. It's not just one person shooting out all the information. So I will be doing one of these again with Bill later on this year. Usually we do about 3 of them. If you've missed some of the previous ones, you can go to notarycoach.com/notary replay, notary light replay. Is that what it is, Bill?
I don't know, but we'll get that out to you. I'll send that out.
We'll get it in replay. But there, we did 4 of them before. And the one previous to this was on the PPEs for notaries. Each time we just pick something else different to talk about and give you a chance, you know, to share about what your take is on it, or what new things you know about it. Because Bill and I are not the end all be all for all the information out there. And so this is an opportunity for us to all share together. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for those who shared about their own road to side hustles, different revenue streams. Really glad you took today to be with us, and look forward to all the different ways that we connect, whether it's here, TNT, Clubhouse, whatever it happens to be. I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Can I say
love it
something
too.
real quick, Bill?
Please, Phil, you got to close it out good though.
Well,
Yeah.
I
gotta beat
apologize.
that.
I'll bring it back to you guys to close it out. But I'm on a phone, so I cannot copy down all the emails. I've done all I can, and my fingers worn to the bone. So if you could please do that for me, get a copy of the chat, I'd appreciate it. Also, I had someone from Houston who I've been talking to who asked me to, or I wanted to call me at 1:30. If you're on the call, here's my number because I can't find the chat request. My number is, don't everyone please write this down. My wife will kill me. 408-821-2198. That's 408-821-2198. And I just want to say on behalf of Bill and Laura, who are amazing people in the notary business, you guys are so fortunate, so lucky to have these two to draw from, to get information from. I mean, this is unlike any business that I've ever been involved in. The camaraderie, the fellowship, the like-mindedness, it's fantastic. So thanks for what you guys do.
Yeah, Phil, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure connecting for sure. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Laura pretty much closed us out, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to grow yourself and your business. This is an incredible community that we have, and I love that we come together so regularly to share information and ideas. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you maybe next week on Clubhouse, but definitely on TNT on Tuesday.
Thanks.